Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we catch up with the president-elect of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, Don Schiefelbein of Minnesota. His operation is truly a family one, and we'll also talk about some of the issues affecting the cattle industry. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Kansas Grain Sorghum, and the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In agricultural news from agview.net, Bartlett has obtained approval from the Board of County Commissioners in Montgomery County to receive some county-issued industrial revenue bonds to support their development of a soybean crushing facility in Montgomery County. The Bartlett plant will be capable of handling about 38.5 million bushels of soybeans annually to crush into soybean meal or refined soybean oil, and those feedstock used in producing renewable fuels, as well as some food products and animal feed. Construction is scheduled to start early next year, with plant operations anticipated to begin sometime in 2024. The Bartlett facility will create about 50 permanent jobs and process about 110,000 bushels of soybeans per day. The approval bond incentives from Montgomery County and the tax credits available through the state's High Performance Incentive Program, or HPIP. And it makes Bartlett's estimated $325 million investment in the soybean processing infrastructure possible. Well, a quarterly report out from CoBank suggests that while the U.S. economy is still very much in the grips of the pandemic, supply chains arguably in the most dire condition since the start of the pandemic. Lead times for manufacturing inputs recently reached record highs, and persistent supply chain disruptions and labor shortages are adding significant costs to businesses as well as consumers. Rapidly rising input costs and product shortages are hitting agriculture as commodity prices have flattened and inflation is compressing margins. However, robust exports have kept much of agriculture in the black, and CoBank says that corn, soybeans, and wheat prices declined from the highs we saw in the third quarter, but will likely rebound due to tight supplies and improving demand worldwide. Returning demand from food service led to strength in U.S. meat and poultry, but inflation expected to test consumers' appetite for meat during this fourth quarter. And the Biden administration's requirement that all federal employees, including those that work at the Friendly Farm Service Agency, be vaccinated against COVID-19 will not cause FSA offices to close. Farmers will not receive any less than usual level of service. Those words from Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack, and he made that during a recent House Ag Committee hearing. Find more news at agview.net. Stay right here. President-elect of NCBA in just a moment.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
And we're joined now by Don Schiefelbein, who is a seed stock producer from Minnesota and the incoming president of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. I guess president-elect is the way they call that, because getting your way through. So before we get into some of the issues, tell us a little bit about yourself and your operation.
Well, we're from a large family operation, large family seed stock operation in central Minnesota. When I say large family, I mean large family. So I have 8 brothers who I farm with, their wives, dad and mom, and 5 nephews and their wives all farming together. When you add up all the kids and the grandkids, we're talking a collective 84 of us all working together on the farm, all with the same last name.
You must have truly all of central Minnesota to make sure that that all works, and doesn't
Well,
it?
we got a fairly good-sized school district thanks to us. So, yeah, it's interesting. And, you know, we do a lot of different things. One of the things we do is buy back calves as well from our customers. So we have a feeding operation that takes some effort as well, of 15 to 20,000 calves that we feed out there at home.
Now, it's intriguing. Before, again, we talk about the issues in your role in CBA, let's talk about that family dynamic. How does that work with so many involved in one operation? A lot of times, if it's maybe 1 or 2 generations, that's one thing. But to have so many right there on a day-to-day basis, how do you pull that off?
Well, and I think that's what I bring maybe to NCBA is, first and foremost, you have to check your ego at the door, right? When you have that much family dynamics, there can't be a lot of ego involved. And then if you keep your compass all on doing the right thing, that tends to kind of go you down a road that you don't have to back up and say, geez, why did I do that? So fortunately, we're from a strong family that gets along fairly well. Everybody knows their strengths and weaknesses, but we're all pulling together. And as Dad says, our goal is to grow the pie, not worry about how we divide the pie. So that's a big point as well.
So does everybody kind of have their role, what they need to do, and then everybody pitches in so that all the goals are met then?
Yeah, and basically what we say is everybody's got a kingdom. So everybody's got their kingdom to manage. They're in charge of their kingdom for, by and large, most part, but the group can trump any king. So you have to keep in mind with what the whole goal is of the operation. So the group can trump your ideas, but if you stay in your area, do it well, you kind of have a kingdom to run of your own.
Okay, before we finish up the family, I'm really interested in, of your operation, how has it gone this summer in central Minnesota? Has the weather been very productive for grass and for the operation?
We are struggling with the driest year we've had since 1988. So we're in the hearts of D3 drought conditions. It's rough, it's painful, and I don't have to share that with a lot of the viewers who have gone through drought many years, but I tell you what, it's just one of those emotional things, isn't it? When you need rain so desperate, you look at the forecast, it gives you hope. The clouds start to billow, it starts to build up, the chance of rain is 100%. Then you watch your phone as it goes from 100 to 80 to 70 to 20 to 0. And we've seen that day in, day out. It's hard on the mind, if you will, but as I've told the folks at home, at least the future looks really good. It looks like we're about to turn the corner on this market, and boy, we're going to get back to profitability and good things to come. So we got to just bear down, do what we can, work together, and hold everything together so that factory stays in place so we can take advantage of the good years.
We'll talk about that and more in just a moment. Don Schiefelbein, Minnesota seed stock producer, president-elect of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Stay with us, more in just a moment.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future